February 28, 2026. In a single night, the United States and Israel launched one of the most precise and devastating military operations in modern history. Operation Epic Fury by the US and Operation Lion's Roar by Israel. Iranian nuclear sites, missile factories, IRGC command centers, and even Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei himself were hit. But these strikes didn't happen by accident. They were the final move in a months-long, carefully orchestrated plan. Today we're going behind the headlines to show exactly how the US and Israel prepared the battlefield. Diplomatically, economically, regionally, and militarily, before the bombs fell. This is the hidden timeline of preparation. Let's break it down step by step. Phase 1 began in early 2025 with intense diplomacy. In March 2025, President Trump sent a personal letter to Supreme Leader Khamenei proposing direct nuclear negotiations with a strict 2-month deadline and explicit warnings of military action if rejected. When Iran dismissed the offer and refused to halt enrichment through late 2025 into early 2026, Trump sustained pressure via tariffs, sanctions, and proxy operations. Trump's team briefed European leaders at summits like NATO 2025 on Iran policy. The EU's E3 nations ran parallel, independent talks with Iran, for example, Geneva, often at odds with US maximalism. President Trump then discussed Iran with China's Xi Jinping in a February 2026 phone call as part of US efforts to pressure nations like China to distance themselves from Tehran. China purchased more than 80% of Iran's shipped oil in 2025, becoming an economic lifeline for Tehran. While diplomats talked, the economy became a weapon. For years, maximum pressure sanctions had already crippled Iran to an extent. Then, in January 2026, Trump announced that any country doing business with Iran would face 25% tariffs on everything they sell to the United States. That single move accelerated the collapse of the Iranian rial that had already sparked massive protests across Iran starting late December 2025. Merchants in Tehran's bazaar shut their shops. Demonstrations spread to 31 provinces. The regime responded with a brutal crackdown and internet blackout. But the damage was done. Iran was economically isolated and internally unstable when the strikes began. Next came the regional cleanup, removing Iran's lifelines and protectors. In January 2026, the United States carried out a swift operation in Venezuela, capturing Nicolas Maduro and removing a key financial and oil partner that had helped Iran evade sanctions. At the same time, Venezuelan oil could offer a lifeline in case global supplies are choked off by Iranian activities when it gets attacked. In Syria, the fall of the Assad regime in late 2024, followed by a US and Israel-supported transitional government in 2025, cut Iran's land bridge to Hezbollah. Israel then systematically dismantled what remained of the old axis of resistance. In Lebanon, a US-brokered ceasefire was accepted by Israel, Lebanon, and all factions, including a severely weakened Hezbollah. This agreement locked in the gains and prevented Iran from opening a northern front during the coming operation. By February 2026, Iran's proxy network was shattered and its regional allies were either gone, tamed, or neutralized. On the military side, the groundwork was laid even earlier. From late 2025 into early 2026, the US rapidly deployed advanced THAAD and Patriot systems across the Middle East, enhancing defenses at key bases in Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, and others. A new combined defense operations cell at Al Udeid, Qatar, integrated US regional partners for missile defense coordination. This created a protective shield against any Iranian retaliation. In June 2025, the US had already run Operation Midnight Hammer, precision strikes that destroyed Iran's main nuclear facilities at Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. That operation proved the US could reach deep inside Iran and exposed the regime's technological disadvantages. Meanwhile, Israeli intelligence, with deep infiltration inside Iran, continued targeting Iranian nuclear scientists and senior officials linked to the program. These quiet eliminations further delayed any Iranian breakout capability. By early 2026, US and Israeli intelligence were working in near-perfect sync. Years of human sources, cyber penetration, and satellite surveillance gave them an almost complete picture of Iranian command structures, missile locations, and leadership movements. Then came the division of labor that made the February 28th operation so effective. Israel would focus on leadership targets and remaining proxy infrastructure. The decapitation strikes. The United States would handle the heavy military targets, missile production sites, air defenses, naval assets, and IRGC bases. This clear split, backed by real-time intelligence sharing, allowed both countries to strike simultaneously with maximum impact and minimum overlap. The Iranians never saw the full scale coming because their own technology and command systems had already been degraded. They least expected a daytime attack. So when Operation Epic Fury and Operation Lion's Roar launched on February 28th, everything was already in place. Diplomacy had failed on Iran's terms, the economy was collapsing, and the civilian population was protesting, demanding political and economic change. The region was cleared, air defenses were upgraded on the friendly side, and the intelligence picture was crystal clear. The strikes weren't impulsive. They were the climax of months of deliberate coordinated preparation. Strikes exploited protests and economic woes to destabilize, hoping civilians topple and change the regime, organically avoiding mistakes of the past, like in Libya, that led to lawlessness, while crippling Iran's nuclear and military capabilities. What happens next in Iran is still unfolding, but the groundwork for this moment was laid with extraordinary patience and precision. If you want a deep dive into any single phase, the Venezuela operation, the tariff war, or the intelligence war, drop it in the comments and I'll make a follow-up video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, hit the like button. If this helped you understand the bigger picture, subscribe for more geopolitics and history breakdowns, and I'll see you in the next one.